day. Tonight, she's standing by live near Crane Creek in Ottawa County, where flooding has been extensive. Tina?
That's right, Dancy. Right now, we're standing about 7 miles north of Oak Harbor and about 24 miles east of Toledo. Some families have already left. Some had to be evacuated by Carroll Township Police. As far as we know, about 4 families have been evacuated. But the really strange thing about this, Dancy, is that the extent of the flooding was really not known until about 2 a.m. this morning when a truck overturned on Route 2. The 2 truck drivers had to be taken to Magruder Hospital, where one was treated and released with minor bumps and bruises, and the other was unharmed. This truck overturned into more than 4 feet of water in a ditch along Route 2 earlier this morning. Drivers say the road is difficult to see under the water, and the sloping ditch helped disguise the potential dangers of driving through. Volunteer Larry Wiesman drove us through depths of up to a foot of water along Lake Erie and Route 2. Potential dangers exist in this type of situation.
Vehicles going off the road like this truck up here, if the car was to go off, it'd be underwater. You wouldn't even be able to see it unless its lights were still on. If a person was trapped and knew how to swim, it'd be all over.
Strangely, some houses along high-lying areas were flooded, while others in low-lying areas remained dry because of dikes. Some businesses in the 1.5-mile flood region closed down for the second time this season because of flooding. Residents say they have to put up with flooding each year since the big flood of 1972.
Very, very big problem. If you take a look at the marina, the docks are almost underwater again. We've put a large amount of money into things to raise it, to keep it going, to protect ourselves from the water, but every time it floods, so much gets damaged, so much gets ruined, and you just keep going with it.
Along Route 2 this afternoon, drivers kept on going through despite road closed warnings, much to the annoyance of transportation workers who closed down the road last night.
They should take from 280 to 51, 163 east, back to Route 2.
What hazards and what warnings are you giving drivers?
Well, we wish they'd stay off the road where we got high water, because they just create another hazard.
Like what?
Accidents, and then we got to go rescue them.
Well, Lake Erie is about a half-mile north from where we're standing right now, but we couldn't make it to the beach to do this report. That shows you the extent of the flooding problem. Ohio wasn't the only area hard hit by high waters, though. Michigan shoreline was pounded just as badly. Mike Bowersock spent the day along the Michigan shoreline, and he has this report.
A November gale spilled into December and brought much of Lake Erie with it. Monroe Civil Defense says the situation along the lakeshore is bad. These people already know that. About a dozen families have left their homes. Houses are flooded. Cars and trucks are abandoned. But some of those who live along here are used to it.
I was flooded in '80. I had the house raised June of '80. And we haven't had any water in the house since then.
The floods haven't seeped into the Branchow home, but they say it's just a matter of time. The family's getting everything off the floor, putting items in the bathtub to keep them dry.
Last year, it came over quick. We got like a foot of water throughout the house.
The problems for Monroe County do not end when these 40-mile-per-hour winds subside. This water being thrown over the dike has to go someplace, and it's not going back into the lake, at least not right away.
The water's going to be trapped behind that dike, and it will take some time to either pump the water out or have the water recede naturally.
Officials hope to have a damage estimate within 72 hours so they can ask the state for help. The flood seems to strike the county twice a year, but some of those who are flooded every spring and fall say they don't plan on moving. The floods cost them time and money, but as one resident told me, it's home. Mike Bowersock, 24 News.
Well,
Meteorologist Stan Stachek and Neil Huffman, sports.
Good evening, everyone. It's a problem Lake Erie shoreline residents have worried about for years. High water and easterly winds mean floods. Tonight, that's exactly what's happening from Luna Pier, Michigan to Port Clinton. Our Gene Washko is standing by with the latest on the evacuations and flood problems. Gene?
Jerry, it's much windier and much colder here in LaSalle Township, Michigan, than it is in Toledo. I'm actually on South Otter Creek Road just off I-75. I'm in the Grandview Beach North Shores Beach Community area. North Shores is actually just to my left here. Today, about 20 families in North Shores had to be evacuated because of high water. I'm told the water here has been 3 to 4 feet deep, but it's been bad all over the Lake Erie shoreline. Northeast winds gusting to 30 miles per hour, bringing the rage of Lake Erie too close to home. The waves began pounding the shoreline yesterday afternoon. The battering and beating of the water against the land worsened in the evening.
There wasn't a whole lot of sleeping last night. Every time a wave would hit, the whole house would vibrate and shake the bed. We were up almost all night long checking the lake and the situation out.
The lake's fury has been relentless. Lakeshore homes are no longer on the shore. The houses are islands, forcing some evacuations. In some places in Monroe Township, it's 3 feet deep. The dress code here, definitely waders, and the mode of transportation only by boat. But this doesn't discourage the lakeside dwellers. To them, Lake Erie is more often a friend than a foe.
I love it here. I wouldn't live anywhere but on the water. I just don't want to live in the water.
The waterfront diehards refuse to leave, and some have a solution to help tap the excess water problem.
We never had this problem until they raised the water level for the shipping. And I think it's on the government level that it has to be solved.
But any answer will come too late for this trucker. He couldn't negotiate a foot of water on Route 2 in Ottawa County, but he wasn't seriously injured. The water here has already begun to recede from this afternoon, and I understand the winds will be shifting. They will not continue to blow from the northeast, so the residents here can expect some relief soon. Jerry and Janine?
Gene, wondering, those who have already been forced from their homes by the high waters, any idea tonight when they might be able to return to their homes?
Jerry, officials have told me that the evacuees can come back whenever they want. They volunteer to leave so they can return whenever they want to, but the officials believe that'll be when the situation improves, which will...
Up again. 13's Gene Washko reports.
Waves much smaller than yesterday's, continuing to beat the dike walls today. But the water staying where it belongs, in the lake. That's good news because there's still plenty of water where it doesn't belong. Though it's receded, some lakefront areas of Monroe County still have 2 feet of water.
Oh, it's getting better. As soon as we get the water out of here, then we'll, feel pretty good and get our cars back and everybody back to order. It was fun getting the kids out today, on the rowboat and stuff, and the school, and they like that, of course.
Many homes had a foot of water in them, meaning the carpet has to be thrown out. But that's nothing new for these people.
This time, I'm just going with it. There's nothing else you can do. Nothing.
But here, they don't plan to go with it any longer. They're tired of the ritual and plan to sell the house. A foot of water wasn't a welcome sight in the living room. Most of it has been pumped away, but the dampness will remain for a while. Pumping the water back into the lake is the only way to get rid of it. Today, plenty of pumping going on.
It was up probably knee height in the house. I can't tell how long it was up. Most of the stuff they had already gotten the dressers and everything up on blocks and everything. They got most of the stuff saved, but you can only get so much, in the time that they had.
Bill Lafayette is cleaning up his grandparents' house. They were forced to leave their home, and it'll probably be 2 weeks before they can return.
Everything is just so, it's going to be so damp in there. It's going to be miserable inside for a while.
The threat of more flooding is over for now. Residents can at least relax about that. But now they face weeks of cleanup. I'm Jean Washko, 13 News, Monroe County.